I'm calling this the American Hunger Games because it really looks like the capital out of the Hunger Games. And this happens on occasion whenever the people in the, what do you call it, the coastal elites, as the Americans like to call them, get together because they look absurd. And I thought we'd go through an event over the weekend, which is, not the weekend, it was yesterday actually, which is absurdist. So the first one here being Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The medium is the message. What's she done? She put on a dress with "Tax the Rich" painted over her ass because stunning and brave.
Yeah. Oh, and completely no hypocrisy there at all. I mean, it's like, that's going to be like £500,000 worth of like Gucci or Givenchy or something like that.
Oh, no. She's done very well. She went out of her way, she says in the text underneath her post, proud to work with at whoever, a sustainably focused black woman immigrant designer. Black woman immigrant.
Of course. I mean, yeah, of course.
Probably from Nigeria, Liberia. She's really gone out of her way to get an underprivileged black designer from around the world. No, she's from Canada. Yeah.
An immigrant.
My fashion designer is an immigrant. Black lives.
From Canada. Amazing.
She immigrated from Toronto.
And the hypocrisy of having this, I mean, I'm assuming that's not, she didn't get it for $45 in TK Maxx. That is a, some sort of bespoke coutier. What do you say? Coutier?
I don't know. I'm not into the fashion scene at all.
Yeah, so. I can't even say the words.
Yeah, but my interest in this is not from a fashion perspective, of course, because all fashion is trash. At least the stuff that gets represented here, and you'll see why I'm saying that in a minute. But the designer here, I thought was actually quite interesting because I looked her up, and if you go to her Wikipedia, they have the 15% pledge attached. Apparently, this is an organization she founded, which encourages retailers to pledge at least 15% of their shelf space to black-owned businesses. So it's literally a black jizya. You know what the jizya is?
No.
So in the Muslim world, if you're a non-believer, then you have to pay a special tax to exist.
Right.
That's the deal. Which is, die or pay tax. And so pay the tax. And the funny thing here would just be like, it's like, we're going to segregate off 15% of the shelf space at your grocery store to be black-only businesses. I was like, why?
I mean,
why not just the best product?
Yeah. The best, the cheapest, I mean, I think if people did that, then, like if you're distorting the marketplace, you're actually doing a disservice to black-owned businesses that provide a competitive product.
Yeah, you're literally saying they can't compete with the white products.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times, charity, anything that distorts a market, actually, long-term can do a lot of damage. Like we saw this with aid, overseas aid. So if they go into a country that's suffering from a famine and they dump food, they basically just provide free food. Then
destroys the local market.
The local market can't, the farmers can't. There's no incentive for them to grow crops, so they stop growing crops. They go bankrupt and whatever. And then when the foreign aid stops, it makes them completely dependent on foreign aid, which is absolutely the opposite of what should be happening.
But yeah, she's a wokist, but I mean, I'm surprised she's working for AOC. But if we go back to the gala here, you can see AOC looking very smug, very, very smug with her arse. I like how that's her entire career, though. Like, I love in about 10 years or 5 years, whenever she starts going grey and wrinkly, it's just like, that's over. No one's gonna pay an interest again anyway. So you can see here, Democratic Representative AOC wears a tax the rich dress at the Met Gala, where a ticket costs $30,000 to attend.
Whoa! And do they have 15% allocated to people on welfare so they can come and enjoy some champagne and rub shoulders with the glitterati?
I don't know. I mean, AOC here is actually a diversity attendee, let's say, because she didn't pay for a ticket. So if we go to the next one here, she's talking about the fact that she got it for free, a $30,000 ticket.
A free ticket?
But everyone else there paid $30,000.
Right, the rich people did.
Yeah, so that's the thing on my mind, which is that, you might be able to say that, well, she didn't pay for a ticket, therefore the tax the rich thing is, of course it's not, because it's still going to be paid for, and also she's rich.
Yeah.
But then the fact that you're at an event where everyone's got to pay $30,000 just to attend.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, stunning and brave.
Yeah,
clap, clap, clap.
So this reminds me, my mate was at Davos, and they had a diversity and inclusion zone. And
with separate water fountains. Or...
yeah. You're just included. You're just inclusive in this area. Not the rest of Davos, but June Sarpong was in there, drinking champagne, and it's just it's the opposite. These people are the most privileged elites, and they're like talking about diversity and inclusion. Like why don't you get Barry? Get Barry from Skegness.
Big Baz.
Down to Davos. I'm sure he'd love some champagne.
God, it's an inclusion zone. segregated champagne water fountains.
This really feels like her Marie Antoinette moment.
Yeah,
it really lays. I mean, she couldn't be. It couldn't be worse if she wrote "tax the rich" on the side of a Learjet.
Or a limo or something like that, or a mansion,
yeah.
you know. Anyway, so here's a guy making a point, which is another Babylon Bee prophecy has now been fulfilled. So this was the Babylon Bee writing a joke article back in the day, saying AOC now selling Tax the Rich caviar for $10,000 a can. And then she goes to an event where you guys pay $30,000 to attend. Fantastic. There was a Russian guy I saw on my timeline who made a good point, though, which is that if you actually look at the percentage of Americans, so we go to the next one, there's a Russian guy making a point that...
I can't read that.
Yeah, you can hit translate if you want. But the 1% of Americans, to be in the 1%, you have to have $361,000 apparently now. So even if you were in the 1%, you'd have to spend 10% of your income before taxes to even attend this thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that just gives you a perspective of how elite of elite.
But then the top 1%, that's like 4 million people. So that's still quite a lot of people. They couldn't all attend anyway.
But the idea that, it's the 1%, no, this is like the point.
Yeah, the 0.001%. The people who understand how percentages work.
But anyway, the lack of awareness
2 points in mind.
is stark. It travels around the world. I was making the point with this Russian chap, but also, of course, to everyone else in the country. So the next one, we got Dan Crenshaw making his response. I'm not even mad at the lack of self-awareness or hypocrisy anymore.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just hilarious. These people are a giant joke.
Yeah.
And I think that is largely the response to
It's so completely
AOC.
tone deaf and so... just the hypocrisy of it is just so outrageous. It's self-satirizing.
It's so on the nose, I'm not even sure anything has to be said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things that I think should be said is some of the other stuff AOC's been up to, because she is a lunatic. So if we go to the next one, there's a quote from her. So the Daily Mail put out a quote saying AOC calls women menstruating people while explaining the female body, because that's all women are now. They're just menstruating people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess a trans man, so somebody who's born a woman and transitioned to being a man, they can still menstruate.
Yeah, that's the point she makes. Not just women. Trans men and non-binary people can also menstruate.
Non-binary. Oh, God.
GOP mad that at this are protecting the patriarchal idea that women are the most valuable as a uterus holder.
Yeah.
No, it's just that to be a woman, you need a uterus. And there's no such thing as a female penis. Let's put it that way. She went on. So if we go to the next one here. Trans, two-spirit, and non-binary people have existed and always will exist. People can stay mad about that if they want, or they can grow up, fingers, rainbow flag.
Who's mad
trans
about
flag.
it?
I don't even know what two-spirit means.
I think that's... I have no idea. I think it's
Is that the wolf thing?
Native American thing.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure.
It reminds me of, I remember on Tumblr, back when this was all a joke,
Yeah.
and now it's mainstream politics, is there was someone arguing that like they were wolf gender or something, and they identified
Right.
as a wolf.
Oh, there's so many different genders.
Like,
It's,
it became
it's
a meme.
ridiculous now. There's like literally hundreds of more thousands if you look on Tumblr. And it's ridiculous.
Or
and
in mainstream Democrats.
It all boils down to like categorizing people in a completely unnecessary way. Yet non-binary people have always existed, and it didn't matter. Like it didn't matter. Being a man, you've always had like people ranging from like Hulk Hogan to David Bowie, and further on each side. You've got like Engelbert Humperdinck, who's even like hairier and more masculine, and you've got the guy out of Placebo. Like there's always been non-binary people. They just haven't like made a big fuss about like categorizing themselves and having like different flags and putting
just a
everybody
guy
into rigid little
A guy
boxes.
who's not very masculine. That's
Yeah.
what you call it. You don't need to make some weird category.
Yeah.
this.
Being a man is always included, a vast, diverse array of body types and all the rest of it, sexualities and stuff. So, I don't know why people need to make such a fuss about it and need to this categorization. This are they all computer programmers or something? They this need to fit everybody into an array.
Well, it's a category for everyone. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Anyway, moving back to the event itself, the Hunger Games. So if we go back to this, one person made the point here, Rita from Sky News Australia. The help is masked, while the rich guests mingle maskless. Of course they do. And then the image here of some verified channel being, "Oh my God, Congresswoman, blah blah blah," and then it's some old Congresswoman with this disgusting dress, and it's written down the side, "Equal rights for women," because women still living as slaves today. I'm sure.
It doesn't look like everybody in the background's got the same equal rights as her.
No, it's not. But also, it's
And also, women have got equal rights under the law.
of course, but it's the great point of like she's virtue signaling about like, yeah, equal rights, aren't I virtuous?
Yeah.
Whilst all the help sit there with their masks on, being the plebs of the situation.
Yeah, waiting to clean up after her annoying little dogs. Yeah, I can just tell from looking at her, she's got annoying little dogs.
Yeah, she probably does. But there are loads more images out of this, so we go to the next one. There's a whole another selection of images I found just on Getty Images. So if we go to the first one here, you got AOC again, showing herself off. And then the next one, apparently she had a little purse with Tax the Rich on as well. Well, she hangs out with her friends in tuxedos, because, yeah, of course. And then if we carry on, there's this one, which I found really weird. This is a photographer, which is clearly a bloke with a big beard.
Whoa. Don't misgender them.
I don't care.
Or Zim.
Zem. I mean, with the coloured hair, but okay, whatever. And again, the mask. The endless mask.
That is a beautiful woman.
Yeah, and then we have the next one, another perfect guest, the perfect people, the Alpha Plus, who doesn't need to wear a mask, and then the Help, who carries the tail with the mask on. I mean, it really is just obviously gross.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people there live with themselves, like even for a moment, and not realize this is a total mess of a thing to do.
Yeah.
There's also, of course,
the lack of self-awareness, especially for a politician. To have that lack of self-awareness and not realize, how bad that's going to look, how alienating that's going to be to somebody in a shotgun shack, who's scraping by, doing some sort of, hard job that's the wages have been reduced because everyone's been offshored.
There's not only, of course, the class socialism, which AOC wanted to bring. There's also, of course, gender socialism, which you can insert into something like this, because why not? So if we go to the next one, we have some other queer stuff here. So the first one being a lady with Peg the Patriarchy written on her vest.
Yeah.
Vest? I don't even know what that is. And
then.
I think, isn't that the second one here? The lady from the women's football team that sucked? Like,
what, a women's football team sucked? I do not believe this.
Oh, against other women. They didn't just lose to men. They lost against other women really badly. I think they lost to Sweden or something after taking the knee, and it became a big story of just like, for God's sakes, people. Because they were also complaining at the same time. It wasn't just that they lost the game, but they've been complaining for ages that they're underpaid because the males' football team get paid more. It's
that's just the market. Like,
if people watch it, you dimbo.
Yeah, if more, that's not. I mean, all the people complaining about the gender pay gap could go and buy a season ticket to a women's football team tomorrow, but they won't because it's terrible.
But this lady, who clearly isn't getting paid enough, turned up to a $30,000 ticketed event with a little sign there saying "In Gay We Trust," because just can't be normal for a minute. Has to endlessly harp on about gender politics.
Well, and also, man, they're coming in, they're like, waving all these flags for, hey, I'm gay and all the rest of it, and it's like, we don't mind. We don't mind. It's 2021. It's absolutely fine. We've all got gay mates. We know loads of gay people and stuff. It's it's a bit of a cliche. If you did it in Afghanistan or if you did it in the 17th century, then yeah, you'd be making some sort of bold statement. But now it's just like, so what?
Like, how many of the Taliban elite go to events like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the ones that really get on my nerves are the ones who are like, oh yeah, I'm queer. But there's quite a few comedians that are like, I'm queer, but I've never had a same-sex experience. And it's like, well, then you're not queer. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to suck a dick before I'm going to, like, let you call yourself queer. You can't just come in and steal some of the glory, some of the, like, privilege points on the oppression pyramid and, like, by calling yourself queer. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's all meaningless. I could call myself non-binary. I'm a non-binary gender queer right now. I'm a non-binary gender queer. And
stunning and brave.
Yeah.
Stunning and brave.
Except for some reason when I do it, because people post, like promoters post like gigs and they say, I need a non-binary or female act. So I email in and my mate Darius emails in saying, yeah, non-binary. We never get them because they know that we're taking the piss.
I've been saying this to people. There are jobs in the UK government which are openly discriminatory. And some of them are along lines of sexuality. And if you're gay, you get higher up on the list. So just say you're gay. What are they going to do? Make you suck off the boss in the interview? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Might happen.
Let's go back to the...
I've seen some movies.
God. Let's go back to the Hunger Games here. So you have another one here. So this is Kim Kardashian arriving in her neo burqa. I don't know. Weird rich people doing weird rich people things. I mean, like the guy next to her, I think that I don't know. But it looks like Antifa. But her with her... Yes, I'm a shadow, but whatever.
Yeah.
Weird rich people doing weird rich people things, as they usually do, completely tone deaf.
It looks very science fiction. We are living through a period of time that would have been seen as like properly sort of dystopian science fiction. and from the perspective of the 80s.
I mean, that is what the Hunger Games is meant to be an example of.
Yeah.
The rich capital.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is where the story didn't end, because the story then went online, because Nicki Minaj apparently didn't get an invite. She didn't go. I don't care about Nicki Minaj, but... So, if we're really here, my cousin in Trinidad won't get the vaccine because his friend got it and became impotent. This is her opinion, YouTube. Just reading it. His testicles became swollen. His friend was weeks away from getting married.
The girl called off the wedding.
Now the girl called off the wedding.
Just because he had swollen testicles. I mean, that's not exactly till death do us part. I mean, it's not even like, till swollen testicles do us part.
Yeah, so she says, just pray on it and make sure you're comfortable with your decision, not bullied in regards to taking the vaccine.
How does he know he's impotent? I mean, you've got to try and have a baby first. You can't just look at your testicles and be like, oh, they're a bit big. I must be impotent now.
And this kind of blew up because a lot of people were just like, no, he's got an STD. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not here to talk about the medicine here for a minute. We're going to talk about the politics. Because a certain person who got very mad about this is Joy Reid. Do you know Joy Reid?
Joy Reid.
So she's a leftist commentator in the United States who, whenever critical race theory is criticized, she jumps in the way and goes, no, not the honor of critical race theory, and just has to protect it for some reason. Don't know why. Could be a benefit. And she did a video here moaning about Nicki Minaj daring to say a thing happened in her life. And she said, you have a platform of 22 million followers. I have 2 million. Just a little self, bigging yourself up for no reason.
Yeah.
For you to use our platform and to encourage our community to not protect themselves, my god sister, you can do better than that. And of course, our community, being the black community, but I hate these terms, to be honest, but okay, whatever, that's that thing. And Nikki responded with, this is what happens when you're so thirsty to down another black woman, open brackets, by the request of a white man. Which white man? Name him. That you don't bother to read all my tweets. Quote, my god, sister, do better. Imagine getting your dumb ass on TV a min after a tweet to spread false narrative about a black woman. This is an attack on black women is what it is.
Yeah. I can see Nikki's point. I can absolutely see Nikki's point. And also, I think Nikki didn't get invited to the Met Gala. We all know why. I saw those pictures. It's snobbery. It's classism. Because wokeism is a new class structure. It's only the people, the educated people, the elites that have the time and resources to read The Guardian every day and find out what the correct opinions are this week that can attend these things. Nikki Minaj is seen by some as too trashy. So obviously they're not gonna invite her if she's gonna embarrass them.
I think the critical race theorists would describe it as representing blackness, but let's put a pin in that for a minute. Those people are awful. So we move on from this. She's actually got a point that she's just spreading fake news because Nicki Minaj apparently is pro-vaccine, in general anyway. And you can see this, simp of Nicki Minaj here mentioning it. So the fact that she's like, yeah, go ahead and get the vaccine, not my opinion, just has an experience. So yeah, completely fake news. And if we go on from this, it gets worse and worse. And so we get the next one up. John, you can see her responding to the media, and the media are awful, and I'm glad that more people can see why they're awful. So the Daily Beast decided to go with, Nicki Minaj won't get vaxxed, says she's worried about swollen testicles. So, no, she didn't. So she responded with, please show me where I said I was worried about anything. Yes, I'm glad you guys get to see how the media really works, because the media are the worst. But this isn't where the beef fight decided to end. It started to end with... just throwing racial slurs, because I guess if you're a black woman fighting with a black woman, you can do whatever you want. So let's go to the last one here, in which you have Nicki Minaj responding to Joy Reid, calling Joy Reid a, quote, lying homophobic coon. Her words,
jeez.
I guess I can join the reindeer games too, right? People can go on TV and lie on me. I can report on them too, right? Doesn't have to be truth. It can be half-truths. Uncle Tomana asked who on earth would trust the US FDA, guys. And the screenshot she's got do make a fair point. I'm not sure about the other part of this, but we'll leave that there. So this is Joy Reid back when Donald Trump was president. And you remember this happened with Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, all the rest of them.
Yeah.
It's the Trump vaccine. I'm not taking it.
Yeah. But now it's the Biden vaccine, so I'm going to take that because it's a good one.
But not even that. Any criticism, even scientific, is evil and misinformation. And I have no respect for these people, especially... because the people who just flip on it because now blue team is pathetic. In the same way as if there was someone who's saying, oh yeah, vaccine great because Trump's making it, and then after Trump loses his position, it's like, yeah, don't take the vaccine, it's evil.
Yeah.
Those people are worthy of absolutely no respect. Yeah. And you can see Joy Reid being one of them. I mean, will anyone at all, ever fully trust the CDC government again? And who on God's earth would trust a vaccine approved by the US FDA? How do we get a vaccine distributed after this broken Trumpist nonsense has infected anything, even if Biden wins? So, yeah.
Indeed.
And then we have the last one here being a quote tweet. I don't know what the truth of this is. I don't really care. It's just a beef fight. Joy Reid controversy from homophobic blog post to hacking claim. So she is in Nicki Minaj's words, a lying homophobic coon. That's the quote from Nicki Minaj. Good God. And if the last thing here, just to mention, that tweet is real and still up. I mean, no respect for this person. I mean, this person is a paid schmuck, in my opinion. But yeah, there's...
well, people, it just shows how vaccines and everything, the whole coronavirus pandemic and all the responses to it have become partisan and have become politicized. It's not about the science anymore.
I just want to make clear as well, I disavow Nicki Minaj's statements, but I'm just reporting on the fact that they are there. But yeah, so the elitists all gathered for the little Hunger Games, and apparently one member of the elite wasn't invited because she dared to have tweeted a thing about an experience she had in her life.
Right.
That's how quick you get kicked out of the club, I guess.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to the full premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got some really good stuff. Like podcasts, we can't really put up on YouTube or other public domains because we're dealing with sensitive subjects and we don't want to be misconstrued in what we're saying here. The most recent one I've done is the Progressing to Destruction podcast, which is talking about the actual impact of immigration on the United Kingdom. There are lots of progressive arguments on how the ethnic diversity of the restaurants that you're enjoying has nothing but positive results for the United Kingdom, and that's not true, and we can actually see some of the consequences of this. And so I go through that in detail. We also have our regular series, such as the Epochs of the Lotus Eaters, where we talk about history, myself and Bodade. With this particular one I really enjoyed because it's talking about the Battle of Tunis and why leadership matters, because this was in the First Punic War, where Carthage is losing horrifically to the Romans, and they can't understand why, because there's nothing wrong with their navy, there's nothing wrong with their army. Turns out it was all about the leadership, and all it took was one Spartan general to come and turn the entire thing around, and that was a fantastic episode. I really enjoyed doing that. And we also have the Contemplation series that Josh and Hugo do. This is really interesting, where they just take an interesting subject and go through it in meticulous detail. This particular episode is the science of conformity, and you may well have seen lots of people still wearing their masks in the UK and elsewhere, even though you don't have to. And this goes into why psychology shows that people happen to do this kind of thing. We also have lots of premium articles, again, dealing with subjects that often are not something that you can adequately have a conversation with a bad faith actor. This particular one is free speech and the trope of gay parenthood, which on the, immediately you think, okay, this is going to be politically incorrect in some way, but it's not really. It's actually a very delicate article expressing concern that this is yet another subject where the results aren't in, we don't know what the consequences of this are, and yet we're still not allowed to question the premise. And it's because of the current political environment that we're in. Also, there are lots of other just very interesting and informative articles, such as one by Hugo about how overpopulation isn't real. It's not a real thing. And yet we're constantly told that it is. But the Earth is enormous. And it turns out it can hold billions more humans than we actually have. So, interesting that. And we also have loads of very interesting interviews with people who you may not have heard of, such as Hatton Tash, the lady who was attacked, a Christian lady who was attacked at Speaker's Corner for questioning Islamism. She was stabbed in the head. In very interesting interview with her and various others. And of course, we have a live event coming up on the 24th and 25th of September. Now, the 25th of September one is sold out. So you'll have to, if you would like to come and see us, come to the Friday, 24th September one. This is in South London. As you sign up, you will be emailed the exact location because there are bad faith political actors out there who might try and interfere with the event itself. So there we go.
If you want to get access to all the premium content, please go over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to keep the show running. Thank you and goodbye.